Okay. Hold on. I'm so sorry that I had to um, get off. And okay, Elba, hi. Thank you for coming into the group. Like I was saying, I'm doing this from my phone, so I wasn't sure if I was in the group or on my own personal page. So right now, you guys are in the group, right? Can you just comment in the comments? This is in the group, right? Laura, are you guys inside the group? Let's see. Okay, yes, I see it now. So, you know, I'm just gonna really quickly share that 8 out of 10 women say that communication in their marriage is broken. And most of the women that I talk to, they say that they either feel disempowered when they talk to their husband, that they feel like they are not heard. Oh, you can't hear. Hold on. Hi, Trisha. Why is this happening? Still can't hear me? Okay, Perla says that she can hear me fine. Hi, you can hear me, Trisha. Okay, yay! Thank you. I am not a technical person, quote unquote, and I was telling the other women that I went on and, I went on from my husband's computer and the camera wasn't working, and it was like 2 minutes before the live, so I was trying to figure out the camera. So I'm doing it from my phone. That's why I'm holding the phone. Hopefully, you guys can hear me and everything is good. Okay, so hello. I'm gonna start from the beginning. So I'm Yana, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a marriage coach, and I love serving women. I love helping women feel empowered in their lives and in their relationships. So one of the things when I talk to women about their relationships, about their marriages, and one of the biggest complaints that women have is their communication. It's the first thing that women tell me is broken in their marriage is, they tell me that they feel disempowered when they communicate to their husbands, that their husband doesn't listen to them, that he withdraws, and that she can't get him to open up. A lot of women say that they feel like they're speaking two different languages. So actually, before we move on, I want to hear from you. And where do you feel stuck the most in your communication with your husband? Just type it in the comments so I know kind of where you're at, so we can speak into that. And while you're typing this, I want to share that communication, it's like a dance. Before before actually this live, I needed help from my husband, and I didn't follow the steps that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, and it was a mess. We got into an argument. It was like I felt like a victim, he felt like a jerk. It was just like this disempowering conversation. So communication is something that takes practice. And what I'm going to be sharing with you today is something that, took me and my husband years to learn. And it's going to be a step-by-step kind of process that we use to really effectively communicate. And every time that I don't use this process, there's a breakdown. And I have to go back to this process. So when you practice and you master these steps, it's magical. It really, like you can get through anything in no time. So that is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. And yeah, just stay with me for, it's going to be 30 minutes about the live. So stay with me so you can really get all of the steps, because every single one of them is really important. Okay. Hi, Viri. Okay. So Perla, you always feel that he feels he's always right. Yeah, that's a big one. Viri, I'm asking you to share, what is the biggest struggle you have in your communication with your husband? So also, please share what happens when you ask your husband for something, or when you try to have a conversation with him. How do you feel in that communication? See, for me, when I didn't have these tools that I do now, I felt like every conversation that I had with my husband, we just end up in an argument. I'd get defensive, I'd shut down, or I would just feel too scared to talk to him and ask him for things. And even now, that is my default place that I go to. I go to like getting defensive, shutting down. It's all these learned ways that I've learned to survive in my communication, right? We go into survival mode when we're faced with something uncomfortable. And in communication, a lot of times we feel uncomfortable if we get triggered. So my husband, he's really straightforward. And a lot of people, including myself, think that sometimes he can come off as a jerk. So if I'm not really using these steps by default, I relate to him like he's a jerk and he is going to attack me, and I get small and defensive. So, and I don't like conflict. So right away we, get into these like programmed ways of how we communicate. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is just a process that took me years and years to learn and hours and hours of training and talking and really like doing what doesn't work and really putting it on paper and seeing what really does work, and kind of mastering these steps. So that's that's what I'm going to be sharing with you. So just let me see. So Vidi, he doesn't like conflict and he'll shut down and he simply won't talk, which is so many men just shut down. My husband doesn't. Actually, we're the opposite, but I talk to a ton of women that I coach and they say that their husband just shuts down. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is going to really be helpful with that, for him to open up and to feel safe. Hi, Amy, Marina, Svetlana. Thank you for joining me in the group. So after really mastering these steps, like I was saying, I really feel like I can share anything with him, as long as I come back to these steps. So I'm going to share it with you. And before I start, I just want to acknowledge that there are so many things we can talk about, that have to do with communication. I mean, we can literally be here for hours. I've taken week-long courses on, the differences between men and women and how they communicate, what we've learned from our culture. I've participated in courses that literally teach you about the neuro-linguistic programming of your brain and how we communicate based on that. So we obviously are not going to go into all of that, but I've taken kind of little bits and pieces from everything I've learned and put it into these, simple steps. So first, before you have a talk with your husband, and hi, Jennifer and Amy, you can't hear me. Oh no. Jennifer, can you hear me? That's weird. Can everybody else hear me? Can you I can hear it from my computer, but not my phone. That's weird, okay. So strange. Okay. Can you hear me? Trisha can hear me. Okay. I can hear from my phone. Okay. Well, maybe there's something that you need to change on your phone. Sometimes on Facebook, there's a little sound button that you have to press in order to hear the sound. So maybe try that for those who can't hear me. Okay, so I'm going to get back to what I was saying. So first, before having the talk with your husband, whatever it is, you have to really be conscious. And I know that, you know, you can't be conscious about that you're going to have a specific conversation with him all the time, because sometimes we just get into these conversations. But before having, you know, an important conversation where you want to ask him for something, where you want to make a request of him and so on, it's really important to really set an intention. Like, what is it that you want out of this conversation? So I want you actually to think about that right now. What do you want in your relationship? Like, what is it that's not maybe working as well as you'd like it to? And you'd want to change it, transform it, and you want to have a conversation with him. Actually, type it in the comments. Let's kind of put it on the, you know, in reality. And so it's at stake here. So you can start thinking about it. Okay, so for me, just, you know, an example, even before getting on this call, I wanted my husband's help with setting up the computer, because I'm on his computer and I couldn't get the camera to work. And instead of, you know, really thinking of what my intention is, because obviously there was no time, I didn't follow any of the steps that I'm going to share with you. There was a breakdown, because I just went to him and I'm like, get this to work, and, you know, kind of demanded it, and I didn't set anything up. I didn't have an intention, nothing. So what is your intention that you want? Okay? So I want you to notice something, though. For a lot of us, when you look at your intention, we are going to look at what hasn't been working. And what, you know, you're going to look at your relationship and you're going to start identifying, like, well, this hasn't been working, so I have to fix it. So, and likely, actually, whatever it is that has been missing in your relationship is going to be a source of pain for you. Or at least it's something that actually bothers you. And it's also possible that it's become a critical issue for you. Like, if you fast forwarded on your life, this would be something that you likely would not be able to live without. So I want you to look at what that is in your relationship, and, you know, what is something that is a pain source for you. And then once you really look at, like, what do you really want from that? I want you to ask yourself, why can't you have what you want in your relationship? Like, why can't you have it? It's going to come as a complaint. It's going to show up as a complaint. Like, I can't get this thing to work, like for me, this camera to work, because it's his fault, it's his computer, and this is just not going to work out. My Facebook Live is not going to work out, so, you know, none of this is going to work out. So I really want you to start identifying, like, where are you coming from? And this is, you know, identifying your perspective before you even have a conversation with your husband about something. There's a certain view, a certain perspective that you have that's already been set, and you're bringing that into the communication before you even talk to him. Can you see that? Yes or no? I want you guys to respond in the comments if you can see that. Also, I really want you to look at, are you blaming him or making him wrong for why you can't have this thing? So, you know, for me in this instance, of the computer camera not working for my Facebook Live, I right away went to, like, oh, this is not going to work out, and it's his it's his fault in some way, because I'm using his computer. Like, it's not my fault. Okay? And of course, when I process it and I think about it, I know it has nothing to do with him, but this is like where our brain goes a lot of times when we're in communication with our partner, is we look at, how is he at fault? How is it, how is this issue his fault? So can you guys relate to this? Am I still on? Yeah, I believe. Okay, good. So I'm not seeing the comments come in, but I will just keep going, and once the comments come in, we'll check in. So once you ask yourself before, okay, good, you guys see me. So everybody's hearing me now. Good. Okay, so once you ask yourself these questions, and you really get present to, I want you to ask yourself, who is responsible for your relationship and for your communication? We have it like he is responsible. Alba, you didn't hear me? Okay, so really quickly, what I was asking is, I want you to ask yourself what your intention is for the communication. Notice that you're going to look at what hasn't been working in your relationship, and it's likely that it's been missing, and it's something that bothers you, and it's become a critical issue for you. Like, if you fast forward on your life, it's going to be something that likely you can't live without. So when you look at your intention, you have to look at, what is it that I want to shift? And, what is the complaint that you have about it? And then I said that, consider that you've been making him wrong, and why you can't have this thing is his fault. So most of the time what we do when we have this complaint is we silently complain about it, and we don't actually take responsibility for this complaint. Okay, so what I'm asking you to do is ask yourself, who is responsible for having the relationship and the communication that you want with your partner? Okay, and what I mean responsible is like not who's at fault or who's to blame, but whose life is it? And who's responsible for your life and for your communication, for your view that you have of your marriage and of what's not working. So I really want you to get that you are the only one responsible. Most of us, even though we know we're responsible, we don't communicate like that. We don't behave like that in our relationships. So, and it's okay, all of us do it, but I really want you to get present to that you are the only one responsible. Okay? And once you get present to that, you actually get to say how it goes. You get to say how your conversation with your husband goes, even if he's being a total jerk, a-hole, like whatever. You get to say what you want when you kind of do this work before you talk to him. You are clear about what you want, what you need to ask for, and you have the power to ask for it. So why do you want this in your relationship? Whatever your intention is, I want you to really think about, why do you want it? Like, if you actually had this, what would life be like for you? What would be available? For me, like, if I just stopped, like if I believed that everything is working out and I just took the blame out and I was responsible, what would be available is like, I'd like be a leader. I wouldn't be a victim. So just really think about, why you want this. Okay, so before you have this conversation, if you really get present to the intention, you get responsible, and you ask yourself, why do I really want it? You create this, like, why for your life and your marriage and your relationship. And this is something that really is so empowering, and it moves us, and it inspires us. And it feels like, something that, like, brings life to your relationship. So the discomfort or the, you know, the conversations that end up in arguments, they don't not like they don't matter, but the way they happen don't matter because there's something so much bigger than you. Can you see what I'm saying? Jamie, yes, it does help every relationship. Not, you know, not just marriage, for sure. When you take out the blame, the criticism, the make wrong, and so on. And what happens when you actually get responsible for your relationship is your husband energetically doesn't feel like he has to defend himself, and he starts opening up to you. And, you know, it really is like the game changer. So, so when you come to have the conversation and you are fully responsible for your life, for, you know, having what you want in your marriage and in your relationship, it's a completely different setup. You're not coming to him with, you know, blaming him, criticizing him, and so on. So right away, like, there's an energetic space that you create for your relationship that even though he might not know what happened, he's gonna feel it, okay? So this is before you have the talk. How do you actually set up the talk? Well, first, men are single focused, okay? They are not able to have conversations while they're watching the TV or they're doing something else or they're working or whatever. So first, it's really important, if you want to have a conversation that's effective, is to really set up a space for effective communication. So you ask him if it's a good time to talk, or you can ask him before, hey, I want to talk to you about something. So when would be a good time to talk? You know, make sure that there's no other distractions. Create a time, you know, for you to talk. So you guys can put it on a calendar, whatever it takes. Men are very basic, you know, human beings. Like, they're not like us. I know for me, I can be talking and making dinner and have the TV on and, you know, be all over the place. Men are not like that. So make sure that you set up a space to have a conversation with him. So that's very important. Okay, then when you actually sit down and have the conversation with him, and hey, if he, you know, doesn't remember, remind him for, you know, the day before that we're going to have a conversation at this time, or remind him an hour before, and so on. Support him in remembering rather than, you know, blaming and criticizing, because I know that for us, like, and that goes back to being responsible. Like, if you actually want to have a conversation and you want to be effective in it, it's for you. So you have to be responsible for setting it up, okay? So once you actually have the conversation, you're going to thank him for being available. And, you know, a lot of women are like, well, why do I have to thank him? But what happens when you actually thank somebody, I mean, anybody, it can be your husband or anybody, you create a space, a safe space. You know, when we express gratitude, people really get like they have a safe space to speak, to be themselves, and so on. So, so just thank him. Then tell him that you want to clear the air, that you want to, you know, share something that's been bothering you. Like, whatever the conversation is about, just, you know, when you tell him, hey, I want to talk about this, you are clearing kind of the space for him to listen. Okay, a lot of times we come at our partners or whoever we're going to talk to with a complaint, and right away they're going to get defensive, they're not going to open up. So make sure that you communicate that you want to speak about something and you want to kind of clear the space. Then you take responsibility where you've been making him wrong, or, you know, criticizing or judging him or whatever, and just being totally honest about it. Not like, actually make sure that you don't fall in the trap of blaming yourself for it. There's nothing wrong. We all criticize, we all blame our partners. But when we take responsibility, what happens is again, he lets go of the guard and he's able to listen, and he's able to also see where he's been responsible for his stuff. So, so that is part of kind of clearing the space, is really just sharing with him, hey, like for me, for example, I didn't set up any space. I didn't ask my husband, hey, can you, take 15 minutes so you can help me with the camera before I go on my Facebook Live and yada yada. So I know that after this call, I'm actually going to go and talk to him and really be responsible. Hey, I totally wanted you to help me, but I didn't communicate, and I'm going to take responsibility and take ownership and set it up with him. But if I was to go ask him before that, I would really kind of create a space for him where I would get into his world and I would tell him, hey, I know you're busy and you're working. Do you think that it would, you can take 15 minutes before 3 o'clock to help me set up the camera? And I would do it in the morning, or yesterday. I should have done that yesterday. I mean, I didn't know this was going to happen, but just to give you an example. Are you guys with me? I want to hear from you if you're getting what I'm saying, if this is landing over there, and so on. So once, you kind of clear the space, you set up the conversation, or you set up a space for the conversation, you take full ownership. If there's anything, yes, Jamie's saying yes, awesome. Create a space, I love it. If there's anything that is not, kind of clear and hasn't been cleaned up from the past. So if you guys haven't, cleared up an argument that happened yesterday and you're trying to ask him for something, you have to make sure that you clear up that argument. And you can use these steps of clearing up, whatever happened yesterday or the day before, because that space is not going to be created for the communication, for the conversation. So if you do need to clear the space with something that happened, yesterday or the day before or whatever, or something that happened with the kids, it's really important that you do so. And if it was something like an argument, or you didn't, do what you said you were going to do, or he was a jerk to you or whatever, you need to communicate all of it. And you really need to, it's really important that you're responsible for that. Otherwise, the conversation is just not going to go well, and that's going to be in the space, and you're not going to know why, but it's just going to be in the space. And when you're clearing that space, also, it's really important to communicate the impact of whatever that's kind of not clear or that happened, and really get, that you understand the impact that's over there. So, for example, if I wanted to go ask my husband to help me with the monitor, with the camera, I would get the impact like, hey, I know that you're working at that time, and I know that it's really inconvenient for you to stop work at that time and come and help me, and I get it, and I really appreciate that you would even do that, if he's going to be a yes. So what I'm saying is really kind of getting that the impact is, you have to make sure that you get over there where he is, and you state what the impact is on him of you, of whatever that's been in the space, like whatever you need, or however it's going to impact him. Okay, so he feels like, oh, she totally gets me. She's not just coming at me with this like command or request. She actually gets that it's, inconvenient or whatever. Or, if you want to ask them to throw out the trash, if you want to be effective at it, rather than, hey, you never throw out the trash, you can go over there and be like, you know what? Like, I know that the trash piles up, and, a lot of times I just go and tell you, hey, can you throw out the trash? And I complain about it, and, I make you wrong for it, and it probably doesn't make you feel good. That's the impact. It doesn't make you feel good. And I understand. And it's really important for us to, you know, have the trash out every day for our family. So can you do it? And I'm going to go into the steps of how you make that request. But can you guys see how important it is to, you know, recreate that impact over there? Like if he came to you and he was like, you know, asking you for something, and he recreated the impact over there with you, you would feel heard, and you would feel gotten, and you would feel like, oh, he totally gets where I'm coming from. And that, you guys, is such an important magical secret. When we get over there where he is, he wants to hear what we have to say. He wants to listen. He wants to make us happy. Like men, they just want to make us happy. But because we're always kind of coming at them with our complaints, they just rather leave or check out or not do whatever we want them to do. So yeah, and totally, Vidi, you're saying that it would have him get that you're on his team, and that's what it is. Men want to know that you're on their team and you got their back also. So when we're complaining at them, you know, they get it like we're just talking at them. We're not on their team. We're just kind of like on our own team, and we're talking at them, and we need them to do things for us. So that's, you know, kind of like the secret sauce to really having him listen. And it's not just lip service. You really have to get into his world here. And I know it may seem counterintuitive, and this part is so necessary to have it be effective, okay? And then you're going to go back to what your intention is, and you're going to share your intention with him. So for example, you know, I was talking about the trash. Your intention maybe for that communication can be that you want your house to feel clean and organized, and you want to feel peaceful, you know, in your house. So you can share that with him. You share with him what you really want. So you can share, hey, you know, it's really important for me to feel peaceful in our home, and when the trash cans are full, it doesn't feel good. And, you know, I want us to feel good in our home. So can you do this one thing so we can all feel, you know, this in our home? So you communicate that intention, and you play it out by communicating the thoughts and the feelings that are associated with the experience of actually having this in your life. Like I was saying, you know, you tell him the thoughts like, it makes me think that our house is dirty when the trash cans are full, and I can't feel peaceful in our home. So what would it take for you to take the trash out every day? And he will share with you. Like, actually, I had this with my husband a while ago where I told him this, and he was like, you know what? When I go to work, I'm not thinking about the trash. Like, I am single focused, and I'm just like, get to work. So I need to set up a reminder on my phone to take the trash out. And, you know, I need an alarm set up. And also, if I miss the alarm, can you just tell me and remind me? So it was like, for him, he's just like, okay, how do I make it work so she feels peaceful and she feels good in her home? And it was just like magical. He started taking the trash out every day. So when you set it up where it's just like, this is what, you know, the space that I want to create, and you're responsible for it, magic happens in your communication, and your conversations become so easy. And, you know, you guys are just kind of knocking out goals and commitments, and he feels like he's on the team with you, and he's like, you guys are working towards the same goals rather than this like adversary relationship that a lot of us have. So are you guys getting this? Is this landing? So think about also, when you communicate with him, what is the specific outcome that you want to achieve? And that is, you know, like, what would it look like for your intention to be fulfilled? Because if you're not specific with a man, he's not going to know how to make it happen for you. Men are very simple. They do like direction. They like for you to tell them exactly what you need, and for you to really mean what you're saying. So if you don't know what it looks like and the exact outcome that you want to have, he's not going to be able to fulfill. He's not able to read your mind. So I recommend that you know, before you have a conversation, like write it out for yourself. What would it look like for me to feel peaceful, or for me to, you know, have this experience that I want to have in my home? And the trash was just, you know, an example. So, so those are, you know, just some simple steps that you can do, that you can take in your communication when you are talking to your husband. I hope they were helpful. I know that for me in my marriage, they've been incredibly helpful, and I always come back to these steps. And for all of my coaching clients, these are the steps that I teach them, you know, at the end of a program that I teach, and how to really ask for what you want, to support you in what you want, you know, in your marriage, because it is your marriage. Like, you are 100% responsible for your marriage, and he's 100% responsible. So, so yeah. And also, if you guys, you know, actually, I want to know if this was helpful. If you guys want more of this, I'm going to be going live every Friday at 3 p.m. and sharing a whole lot of other tips. So if there's something that you guys, you know, want more of, like different content, please reach out to me. Also, I wanted to share with you about a coaching program. If this was helpful, then a coaching program that I'm going to be teaching, it's starting June 1st. It's a group coaching program where not only are we talking about communication, but we're literally breaking down every single part of your marriage and where the roadblocks are, and literally going to be rewriting your marriage story, because all of us have these, you know, stories that we hold on to, that are keeping us stuck in our marriages. So in this program, it's called Transform Your Marriage program. It's 10 weeks. We're going to be breaking down all of those stories that don't serve you in your relationship, and literally reprogramming, you know, the way you look at marriage, the way you look at your specific relationship, what you want for yourself in your life, for your kids, the kind of example that you want to be. So if that's something that is of interest to you, I'm having an amazing offer because of the COVID-19, and like, you don't want to miss it. So if that is something that interests you, you can just write in the comments interested, and I'll private message you, or you can just DM me yourself, and I'd love to share more with you about it. I'd love to support you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Friday at 3 p.m. in this group. Hopefully, not hopefully, I'm going to figure this camera thing out, and we'll go on exactly at 3 p.m. Sorry about, you know, the lateness today. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. If you want, actually, here's another thing. I've been thinking about making this process, this step-by-step communication process, into like a downloadable format. What do you all think? Is that something that you would want, you know, in a PDF that you can kind of go back to and watch? I mean, not watch, but read, so you can practice it with your husband. So let me know, and I'm happy to create it for you. Okay? Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.